Hi guys, what's up? It's Charla from That Girl Cooks Healthy. So today I'm going to show you how to make some baigan choka using your air fryer. This is a super easy recipe. It's incredibly tasty and we are going to make this together and I'm going to show you how to do it. So these are the ingredients that you're going to need. I have 2 large baigan, also known as eggplant. Over here we call it aubergine. So I have 2 of those that I've already washed and dried. I have some onions. I have 2 sets of onions. So I have some onions by themselves and I have some onions with some chopped garlic. I have some garlic cloves which I have cut in lengthways in half, and I also have some salt and pepper, some olive oil and scotch bonnet pepper. With the scotch bonnet pepper I use all of it for this recipe because we like ours quite hot and fiery. But if you don't want your choka to be really hot, you can either leave out the scotch bonnet or only use like a quarter of it for the recipe. So the first thing we need to do with the baigan is we need to make some slices in the baigan. So we're doing this for 2 reasons. One, because we'll be adding the garlic to the baigan, and the other reason why we're doing this is to help release the air while it's air frying. So I'm just adding a few of those slices and I'm just adding it all over. So I'm just slicing all over. I'm not going extremely deep, but you also don't want them to be too shallow because, as I said, some of these slices that you're making is going to accommodate the garlic. So you want to make sure that you make a few and you want to make sure that it's deep enough just to house the garlic. So you do that on both of them and then you just set them aside for when we're going to add the garlic to the baigan. So the next thing we need to do is place some of that garlic in those slices that we made. So you just add 2 per baigan. However, if you want to add more garlic, you can do so. The more garlic that you add, the more of a garlic flavor that you have at the end once it's all cooked. It doesn't really matter where you add the garlic. The best thing to do is to just evenly distribute it. So in my case I have 4 pieces, so I just add 2 per baigan. And once we do that, we're just going to coat the baigan with oil, and we do that because we'll be air frying it and we just want to make sure that it's nice and crispy and it will help with the cooking process. So that's the reason why we add oil. We also add oil as well to the scotch bonnet as well if you're adding it. Like I said, you don't have to add the scotch bonnet if you don't want to. You can leave it out or just cut the amount that you feel that you will need in terms of the heat that you'll get from the scotch bonnet. So the next thing that we need to do is air fry our baigan. So I'm going to add them to my air fryer basket, and my air fryer basket is quite large, so I can accommodate the two. You might need to do yours one at a time depending on the size of your basket, so just do what really works for you in terms of the capacity. And you also want to add your scotch bonnet as well, and we're going to air fry for about 25 minutes at 374 Fahrenheit, which is about 190 degrees Celsius. So about 5 minutes into the air frying process, I'm just taking out the scotch bonnet because I don't want it to air fry too much. So you want to take it out about 3 to 5 minutes into the cooking time and then put it back to air fry. So it's been about 25 minutes now, so it's time to check to see how our baigan is doing. And as you can see here, it's nicely air fried. You notice that it's starting to shrink and it looks quite limp, and that's a good sign because we want it to be quite wilted and limp. That means that it's air fried quite nicely and the inside is going to be nice and tender and juicy, which is what we need. So now that we have roasted the baigan, we need it to cool down completely before we open it up. The easiest way to do that is to use a paring knife and just slice it lengthways. You can do that to both of them, and once you've done that, you also want to remove the tops, and that just makes it easier for when you need to scoop out the flesh. So once you have cut off the ends and slice it lengthways, the next thing we're going to do is open it up, and we're just going to scoop out the flesh, and that is the bit that we're going to use. We don't need the skin, so we can discard that, and we can use a spoon just to scoop it out. As you can see, mine is still steaming, but it's also safe for me to use my hands and go in there and just open it up without burning myself. So you can also see as well that the flesh is more of like a translucent color as well. It's not the opaque color that it was, you know, when you slice into eggplant baigan and you see it's more of a creamy white color. You can see it has more of a translucent, I don't even know what color to call it, but like a translucent color. That's the color that we're looking for, and it's also the texture as well is going to be incredibly soft as well. It shouldn't be firm, it should be soft, and it should be easy to scoop out. If it's too firm, then that means that the baigan didn't have enough time to air fry, and you know, you need to carefully put it back in the air fryer. But 25 minutes, around that time, is usually a good time to cook the air fry, should I say, the baigan. It should be definitely ready by then. If it's not, then I would be worried about why it's not ready. So yeah, we just scoop it out, put it into a bowl, and then we're ready to move on to the next step. So this is what the flesh of the eggplant looks like once we have scooped it out. I'm now adding my scotch bonnet. I'm adding all, as I said, we like ours extremely hot. That's just a preference. I'm also adding half of the onions that I mentioned at the beginning, and I'm just using a potato masher to mash the baigan with the onions. The onions are raw, by the way, that they're not cooked. And I'm also, like I said, I'm using the scotch bonnet as well, and I'm just gonna mash that together. It takes a few minutes just to mash it, consistently mash it until all of it comes together. While we are mashing the baigan, we also want to add our salt and pepper to taste as well, and you can use a spoon just to stir that in and continue to mash the baigan until it is like really smooth and has more of a almost like a pureed consistency is what we're looking for once we add the salt and pepper. So the last thing that we need to do is to chunke the baigan. So when I say chunke, what this is where you get like a ladle or a calchol, I believe it's pronounced. And what you do is you add some oil and you heat it up, and when you heat it up, you add you can add spices, you can add garlic. In this case, I'm adding some garlic with some onions, and you want to just heat it up to the point that it's golden. So it takes a few minutes to achieve this. You can also use a frying pan if you don't have any of these, but I'm using my ladle for this. So once you heat it through and it becomes golden, you just pour the hot oil mixture directly onto the baigan, and this is going to add some deep, intense flavor. Like, this takes the choka to another level. This is something that I also do with dal as well, and I highly recommend this method. Don't skip it. Like, really don't skip it, because it really makes a difference in terms of how it tastes. The flavor is more intense. It's beautiful. It's really nice. So this is the last thing that we need to do before we serve it, and I'm serving mine with my gluten-free roti. Because this recipe is not well, at least the air fry version isn't on my website, I'll put the written version of it in the description box in my Patreon account or channel, should I say, so you can follow it there as well. So this is it, guys. Your baigan choka is ready to be served. I like to mop mine up with my roti. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you make it. I hope you like it and all that good stuff. I will catch you on the other side.